Well, obviously, the President of the United States has called it an unspeakable tragedy, and, you know, we're live this morning, Representative Schwartz and Representative Morissette. Let's start with you. I'm going to tell viewers what they need to do is put on a gas mask, but for the next 48 hours, the incident aside, okay, now you're going to see the exploitation. There are pimple-faced 21-year-olds all over Congress, all over Capitol Hill, figuring out how to exploit this thing. We're going to see crazy things blamed for this when it's really a person's individual responsibility. Let me ask you, Colby, I mean, what are we going to see out of what's going to be the biggest story coming out of this shooting in terms of our government?
Well, first of all, yesterday I spent a considerable amount of time following Facebook and Twitter. It was really interesting. Unfortunately, those avenues allow individuals to make very crass statements and very quickly put them out to the internet. Listen, how dare you disrespect the dead? We're talking about a 9-year-old girl. We're talking about a federal judge. For that matter, and a congresswoman. 19 people shot in all. Listen, this is about responsibility. If you want to have a debate about gun control, that's great. But this is an irrational act by an irrational person. So let's not blame it on other things. This is a wacko that might have had help. But, I mean, we're talking about a fan of Mein Kampf and Communist Manifesto on Animal Farm. I
don't want to be flippant, but my goodness, the last 24 hours, I've heard some of the most insane blames from Sarah Palin, conservatives, anti-immigration. Brett Favre will be blamed before this day's over with. We got to stop this stuff, man.
Well, you know, all of that is ridiculous. I agree with Colby on everything he just said. This is not a political issue. This is an isolated incident with a crazed person. He may have been associated with some other crazy people. I don't know. You know, throughout history, political history, whether it's Abraham Lincoln all the way up, you know, I remember, Scott, you and I are old enough to remember when George Wallace was attacked and shot in 1972. You know, Colby, I'm wondering, though, out at the House of Representatives, maybe all of us, I don't know much about CPR and about, apparently one of the interns of her saved her life by stopping the bleeding. You know, maybe it's time we all get some training and all of that out at the House. You know, I need some, I know that.
We grew up with assassination, man. It was
That's right.
Obviously. I mean, okay. Now, let's go back to how this affects things. This week, the House of Representatives, new Speaker Boehner, they were supposed to take up a symbolic vote to repeal the Obama health care reform. That's not going to happen. But Senator Pruitt now, on Monday, tomorrow, Attorney General Pruitt is going to go ahead with the lawsuit to repeal it. Here's what Attorney General Pruitt is going to do.
It is my duty, my responsibility, under the Constitution, under the statutes of Oklahoma, to defend and give voice to the people of Oklahoma against the intrusion of the federal government in those areas.
Now, Richard, is this a real deal or symbolic?
Oh, it's a real deal for him. But, you know, Attorney General to be Pruitt, he'll be sworn in tomorrow, needs to cut, you know, the campaign is over. Let's cut it out. 26 states have already filed a lawsuit against it. The federal courts are going to decide this issue for all of the states. So here he is grandstanding again. You know, something people don't know. It's not Obamacare, health care reform. You know, this was Bob Dole's idea in 1976 when he ran for president. The idea of reforming health care insurance for people, for seniors and children, is a Republican idea that started with Bob Dole. It's about reforming the way we deliver health care. It's not about Obamacare. It's about the reformations that Bob Dole started.
Republican Attorney General, do you agree with what Senator Pruitt, soon to be Attorney General Pruitt, is going to do?
Yeah, I do. And I think the reason I say that is, listen, we all attack quote-unquote politicians for making promises and not keeping them once they're elected. This is something that during the campaign trail, Scott Pruitt said what he'd do. I think, obviously, the will of the people was proven on the state ballot in November on the state question that wanted Oklahomans the ability to reject Obamacare. And it is Obamacare. This is his idea. The 2,000-page document that we passed without reading, that is. The idea of reforming health care, yeah, it needs to be done. In my other profession, I work in healthcare. I see it. And, you know, we do need to reform it, but not this way.
Tomorrow, the 27th governor of the state of Oklahoma will be sworn in. The first woman, Congresswoman becomes governor. Congressman Fallin becomes Governor Fallin. Your impression and what you're looking at as she assumes power in the state of Oklahoma?
You know, for me personally, this is even, I guess, some more to it. 10 years ago, I had the privilege to work for Lieutenant Governor Fallin for 2 years as a legislative liaison. This says a lot for Oklahoma. I think this says a lot for the direction we're going. It's special, and I mean, we need to take pause and realize that this is a great event when you see your first ever woman governor, that the state has accepted the place of women in politics and leadership. It's special.
The 26th governor, let's not forget him. 8 years, high approval ratings. Your viewpoint of the legacy of the Henry administration?
Well, my understanding is that Brett Henry is still at 60% or higher approval rate. The fact of the matter that most of his term he had to basically deal with a legislature that was in the beginning controlled by Democrats and by Republicans. Brad has always tried very hard to work with the other side of the aisle. He's worked overtime on that. I give him credit. He's had a really great 8 years, and his education reforms are the best. I wish the new governor well. But I hope in the future, though, that she gets off of this rhetoric about tort reform comp. It's the same old diatribe. Let's get some interest in the people of Oklahoma, all 77 counties, everyone, not just the same old tired ideas.
All right, real fast, Representative Dave Danks says we got to do away with the income tax in Oklahoma. Let's take a look at what he says and why. All right, we're not going to do that real quick. Representative Danks says that he's going to try to repeal income tax. Your viewpoint on that?
That is absolutely insane. Here are the facts. $2 billion come in with the income tax, $2 billion come with the sales tax. Folks, when you go to the grocery store, you'll have to pay a 15 to 18% sales tax on everything. He also came out with the idea that he wanted to do away with grocery sales tax. That's a Republican idea. They voted against my bill on the floor 3 years ago. Let's put David Dank, let's be real here and let's talk about real reforms instead of this political grandstanding.
Should we repeal state income tax, Colby?
Eventually, yeah. I think it's going to be a process to get there. And I think, to David Dank's point, is one of the fastest growing states of this last census are the states that have no income tax.
Let's not talk about Texas anymore except beating them in football, okay?
Yeah.
My Lord.
Well, Texas is,
That's easy to beat them in football now.
Well, let's not copy them in their politics. Their property tax is 4 times as high.
Good luck and blessings to the Fallin administration tomorrow. Back to you, Rusty.